Welcome to Evolve Through God. I'm excited to bring you our next guest, Lady Gozen. She is going to give you quite a take on what it is to be a cultural Muslim and later convert to the Christian faith. She struggled throughout most of her life with a debilitating skin disorder, and when a doctor told her there was nothing he could do for her, she turned to God and found Jesus. So, hope you enjoy your episode of listening to her. She's a powerful guest, and we are going to have her for 2 episodes. So, enjoy meeting Lady Gozen. Hello and welcome to Evolve Through God. My name is Angela Goodman, and I have someone that is so special on the podcast today. And I fangirl over her accent, her name, and the work that she's doing. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how I met her, but I want to introduce all of you to Gozen. Lady Gozen, otherwise known by. And I absolutely just fell in love with her story, with who she is. I met her through Jen Gottlieb's Stage Leaders group and then had the opportunity to actually catch her on a live on Jen's. And I just was blown away by her story, by the work that God is doing through her, and had to have her on the show. So, Lady Gozen, welcome to Evolve Through God.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm so excited to just share about what we're doing here and just evolving through God.
Yeah, I love it. And I do first of all, you're in the UK, so I want to be clear with the audience about that too. So I think you're actually my first international guest. I think everybody else has been in the States. But I love that. And so thank you for working your time schedule for me to get on the show today for sure. I was just struck by the work that you do. And I was struck by the fact that you are so open and so honest about your relationship with God. And I know briefly that it didn't start there. So if you want to walk us through, like, how did you get here? I would love for the listeners to hear it.
Okay, how did I get here in terms of my relationship with God? That's a
Yeah.
full question.
Yeah, that's a big question. That's a big bite question.
Yeah. Well, in short, I was a middle child. Yes, it's a thing. I'm also a psychotherapist, so
Oh, I did
there's
not know
a
that
lot
part.
to
Even
unpack.
better.
Yes, I'm an international speaker, author, um, psychotherapist, behavior specialist, all the things
Wow.
and more.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I was raised culturally Muslim. So my parents were migrants here in the UK,
Mhm.
raised culturally Muslim. So what that meant is we still ate bacon, still had alcohol in the house, only went to the
Okay.
mosque when there was a funeral. A bit like the state of
Okay.
some people that say they're religious and not.
Okay.
So but we went to the best Church of England schools here because my parents valued education.
Mhm.
And then I progressed through. I qualified as a lawyer, a barrister.
Oh, wow.
So it was all about speaking up for people and helping people and
Mhm.
human rights. Um, and yeah, just through my journey, I was also diagnosed with a skin disease called hidradenitis suppurativa, which
Okay.
basically meant there was boils, blisters under my arms, around my
Oh,
neck,
wow.
in my groin. And these
Oh,
blisters would prevent me from raising my arm to even tie my hair. These blisters
wow.
stopped me from walking some days. It was a challenge. It was a challenge.
When did that start?
I was diagnosed when I was 12 years old. So
Oh,
around
wow.
puberty, preteen
Yeah.
time. Um, God has shown me since that it was a lot around emotions and not processing emotions. So my body was
Mhm.
processing it in a way that it knew how.
Oh, wow.
Um, and it was an autoimmune disease. So it was the body fighting against itself. So there was a lot of
Mhm.
like inner workings going on. But that's where I was. And, Jesus was a bit of a cuss word growing up in my household
Yeah.
because we weren't Christian.
Yeah.
Um, who's that kind of
Yeah.
thing? Not that
Yeah.
we ever read the Quran, but it just wasn't spoken of.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I was raised, and then I got to my late teens, and my family started going church, and they were like, "Gozen, come church," and I was like, "Nope, I'm positive, I'm okay." I was always known as the one to go to for a positive word at university. So university is
Okay.
your college.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so the people used to come to me like, "She's also always so positive," but the thing is, I had to be. I had to pick myself up from the dismay that I was in, from the depression that I was in, from the physical difficulties that I was in my day-to-day life.
Do you remember,
Um,
did you struggle much before the disease started to come to show itself? Do you remember much
so
before the age of 12, like as far as what you went through, or if there was something you?
I think, all right, so middle child syndrome is a
Yeah.
thing. Not sure if you've heard it before, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
where the first one gets all the attention and then the middle child comes, so it's like split attention. Then the third one comes and they get all the attention because they're the baby. So the middle child kind of feels a bit forgotten, not
Mm-hmm.
heard, not
Mm-hmm.
seen.
Mm-hmm.
Needs are not really being met because, you just kind of have to just deal with things, hide yourself,
Yeah.
parents stress. They've got businesses, as in their own businesses. So they're constantly working. You don't want to be a bother to them. So you're just excelling at school and you're just keeping your head
Got it.
down and you're a good girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. I got it.
Right? Which psychologically comes up in different ways. Even though
Mm-hmm.
you're a good girl, you get on with at school, you've got good grades, all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I remember that much.
Okay.
Um
So
so
you so
yeah.
as you get to university, your parents start
Mhm.
going to church. So were they going to the mosque or were they going to church?
No, so it wasn't my parents. So my mum, her
Mm-hmm.
sisters, a few of my cousins started
Okay.
going.
Okay.
Dad wasn't. Um I, I think there's been movement there, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll mention my dad a bit later on. It's quite
Okay.
significant.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I was like, no, 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 no. And then something happened. I went to one of the best London hospitals and I was under their care for 5 years. This is like one of the top London hospitals. And thank God that we have the National Health Service here in the UK. So
Yeah.
we don't pay necessarily unless we have private healthcare, but we don't need to. Like our consultants are all, inclusive. You might have to
Mm-hmm.
wait a little bit longer, but it's all inclusive. So by the grace of God, um, there was a dermatologist that I was seeing, and I was at
Okay.
one of the best hospitals, and it was an older English man, very pompous, very British accent.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been under his care for 5 years. And I'm sitting there in a hospital gown now. And there's obviously some nurses with him. He's not on his own because I'm a female.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at my skin and he looks at me, pauses, and then says, "This is ghastly. I don't know what to do with you."
And you'd been going to see him for 5 years?
Yes, and during those 5 years, he had given me immune suppressants, which would literally like suppress all of my immune system. So I had to look after it, like the kind of chemo treatments we hear of.
Wow.
There was topical drugs. There was drugs that would change the color of my tears to pink and orange. I mean, I tried
Wow.
everything. There was topical creams, steroid creams, everything they had they gave me. Even
Mm-hmm.
the more expensive stuff, we would apply and we would always get consent because it was a skin disease they didn't really understand.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I finished in that consultation room because by this point I'd been going to doctors so much. My parents didn't come with me. I could go on my own. So I came out of the room, and what I do remember is falling to my knees and weeping, like that inner weeping that you cannot control. Like my whole body was moving as I wept. And I
Yeah.
recall someone saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" But I physically couldn't stop weeping to say yes or no, or just, I had no words. And I just remember being there for a little while. And somehow I got back on the train and went home.
Wow.
What I
And
do
how old
remember,
were you at this time?
by this time I was at least 20, early 20s,
Okay.
about 22. Um, yeah. And I remember just coming home. You see, I was running to the doctors for hope.
Yeah.
I was running to the doctors because clearly they knew what was going on. There was a medical issue going on, and they were
Yeah.
the experts,
Yeah.
especially the professor in dermatology. He had been a dermatologist for at least 40 years.
Yeah.
Surely he could help me and fix this that was going
Right.
on.
Right.
Yeah, I left that room completely hopeless, completely in despair, having no hope at all. Like he literally said, I don't know what to do with you. So I fell into a depression, and by this point, positive Gozen couldn't pick herself back up.
Yeah.
She just lost the desire to eat, and that's very unlikely. I come from a Turkish background, and we love
Oh, the
food,
food is
everything
good.
we do.
Oh, I love Turkish. Yeah, Turkish food is good.
So I lost the desire to eat. I just didn't want to do anything. So
Yeah.
I remember my mum coming to my room, and she said, like, Gerzen, do you believe God created you? And we'd always had a consciousness of God. Just what God back then, I don't know,
Right.
but we
Right.
knew a higher
Right.
being.
Right.
We called him God.
Did
She's
you
like, do you
talk?
believe God
Did you ever talk to him before this?
to God?
Mm-hmm.
So there was always an awareness. I remember my grandma saying things like, God, people might not see you, but God sees everything.
Okay.
Or she would say, like
So
my
it's
grandma more
more fear based to keep you in line,
It
maybe?
was more of a consciousness.
Yeah.
I don't think it was fear. It was more of there's an awareness of something above us, beyond us. I don't think
Got
it
it.
was fear-based because I'd
Okay,
always
good.
had a father growing up, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was fear-based, but it was more of a consciousness of an awareness of a higher being that actually cared, I
Okay.
would say.
Okay, good.
So she walked into my room and she's like, do you believe God created you? And I'm like, well, your dad said I was the surprise child, so God must have had something to do with it. I'm a bit sarky, but it actually was true. Sister was planned, brother was planned. I was the hi, another child's on the way.
Mhm.
And we hoped it would be a boy, but it's a girl.
Got it.
Um, so I was like, yeah, well, God must have had something to do with it.
Hmm.
And she was like, okay, so how about we go to church and see what God has to say? And I didn't have any hope elsewhere. So I was like, okay. So Sunday morning, I went to church with my mum, my auntie, my sister, and I think a couple of my cousins were there too. And I don't remember what the sermon was about. However, I remember that there was an altar call at the end. My mum nudged me. She's like, go up for prayer. And I'm like, okay. I just went up for prayer
Yeah.
and I gave my life to Jesus. So I said the salvation prayer and
Wow.
invited Jesus into my heart. The thing is, I had no hope elsewhere. Like Jesus was my last option.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
he was an option. No one had come to me and said Jesus heals, or I'd never heard the story. Even though I went to a Church of England school, it was more about the nativity than Easter and dying for
Right.
us for that
Right.
reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I 1 second. Baby,
Yeah.
can you go down, please? All right. My niece is here. All right, cool. So I gave my life to Jesus, and then it wasn't that's it, Jesus has got this. It was all right, well, let's see what happens. Okay, let's see.
Gave your life
That
to
was it.
Jesus. All right. Show me something, Jesus. Give it
Yeah.
to me. Hmm.
Do you want this is being recorded, right? You
Yeah, that's fine. She's okay. She's
want to come and
good.
say hi? Say
Yeah.
hi.
Hello. How are you?
Got chocolate all over her face.
Good
Did you
for
like the ice
her.
cream? Did you like it? All right. Daisy's gonna come down in a little bit when I finish talking, okay? Thank you.
Do you have some ice cream?
I had a little bit, but I think it broke off. All right. I'll meet you downstairs, okay? Thank you. Bye.
She's so cute.
Yeah. It's a novelty to come to my room.
Oh, I love
Aunties are
it.
the best.
Hey, I don't, there's a reason she showed up, right? When you started talking about the salvation prayer in Jesus. Like, and I don't edit anything. So the listeners will get to hear this part too, and they will probably make them laugh.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there's a reason why she showed up during that time. So who knows? Anyway.
Well, just briefly, I've been bringing her to church, and she had communion the other day.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is the blood of Jesus, and he died for us. And she was like, oh, nice. She goes, oh, I like the blood of Jesus. Can we have more? So the only way I could get her to hush down, because she's loud. If she hears me
Yeah.
say amen in church, she'll be saying amen too.
I love
So
it.
the only way to hush her down is say, we've got some communion elements at home. Come home, run into her mum. Mum, I want the blood of Jesus.
That's so cute. I love it. So
But
good.
it just reminds me, like, the consciousness of the blood of Jesus in our life is what we
Mhm.
need.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So at this time, you do the salvation prayer, you take
Yes.
communion, you
Yes.
invite Jesus in, and you're like, all right,
Yes.
prove it.
Yes.
All right, prove it to me.
Yeah. So then what happened was
Yeah.
I went back to the same hospital with the
Mhm.
professor. And before I would always say, oh, call the professor. You guys don't really know what you're doing. Like, call the professor. I was
Mhm.
a bit, that's what always happened. They'll be like, oh, no, okay. 1 second, the professor's coming would be the
Mhm.
response. This time I did not want to see him. Yet there was a new consultant. Usually I don't like new consultants because they just don't know what they're doing. But this lady,
Right.
she was so helpful. And she said, I've been looking into your case. And she goes, I've been doing some research. And I found a consultant who specializes in just this skin disease. Like,
And
I mean,
how long after your trip to church did this happen?
It would have been like a month or so. It was quite
So
soon after.
pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, the first thing I did, I was like, God, that's you. All these times I've been coming here and I'm learning of a consultant that has a whole clinic on just this skin disease. So when I went to go see her, from no hope, don't know what to do with you, she's like, oh, well, we've got these holistic options we could try. We've got these drugs that are new on the block. They're a bit more trial experimental, but she gave me a plethora of options that I could choose from. And I'm like, God, that's you.
Mm.
So yeah, so he kept showing up, and then he kept showing up with work.
Mhm.
I got trained to go do these court hearings, which were very kind of unheard of, and he just kept showing up in little ways. I'm like, God, that's you. God, that's you. God, that's you.
Love it.
And I got to a place where I was just like, God, I just need more of you. Like, I've tried doing things my way and they're not working. And a couple of years after I gave my life to Christ, I got baptized, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just I'm going to be open about this. I was an advocate anyway. Like, how much more
Right.
this hope that I've found in something that the doctors said they didn't know what to do about. And then my hunger for him kept growing. And yes, there was challenges health-wise, but I started reading the scriptures, and it said, transform your mind with the renewing of the word. And that
Mm.
Jesus went around healing the paralytics. He went around healing with the woman with the issue of blood. Just by one touch, the blood stopped. I'm like, that means you can dry up the pus and the skin disease, Lord God, over my body.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first walked into church, I couldn't raise my arms more than this. I just couldn't. Like, it was webbed. I just couldn't.
Wow.
So, like some pastors are like, raise your hands, worship the Lord,
Yeah.
praise God,
Yeah.
lift your hand
Yeah.
higher. I was like, I can't. It hurts. So I remember those days, but I found peace in it. I found, all right, well, Lord, you did it for this person. You did it for that person. You opened blind eyes. You cut off chains. You've healed. You've raised people from the dead. This is easy for you, Lord.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just kept going to the scriptures and memorizing the scriptures, and that he grants us long life, and he's until we're satisfied. And I'm like, well, Lord, I want to be satisfied in my life, not, in the state that I'm in.
Yeah.
So doctors, and my hope isn't in my doctors, it's in you. And even the consultants, they were like, what are you doing? Because by this point, I hadn't had any drugs. I'd had light therapy and other therapies that they were offering me.
What were the therapies that they suggested for you?
So there was like light therapy with like sunbeds to help with the drying out. There was another potassium treatment bath that you would soak yourself in. It was all trial and error. She goes, like, there's not one thing to fix it. The Lord showed me in time after I'd qualified as a therapist that it was me not giving space to the emotions.
Mm.
And in not giving space to it, the body was expressing them.
Mm.
So as I
So
learned to give
because you were holding
space,
in your emotions, because you weren't able to be seen, because you weren't allowing yourself to be heard,
Mhm,
it was coming out of you in another way.
exactly that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and I've since learned like emotions, they will stay there until you give them space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the more and more I gave them space, the less and less they're showing up on my body because they don't need to.
Yeah.
And through time, I've had operations to remove large areas. And now I can raise my arms. Yes, I've got scars under my
Yay.
arm, but I can raise them. And
They're
I like
scars with a
people,
beautiful story.
right. I like
Mm-hmm.
people asking me because then I could tell them about Jesus and what he done for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just so blessed. Even the last operation I had, so last year was the last of 4 back-to-back, like skin grafts and things like that. And the last one, God had me write prophetic notes to the nurses and the people in the room. And
Mm.
by the time I left, they were like, "Oh, you're going, we're gonna miss you." And
Yeah.
you've been a blessing to us, even though they're there serving me. But that's how God operates. I always used to say, I'm going to the hospital healed to testify of God's goodness, not as a sick
Yes.
person going for healing.
Yes. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
And my consultant would look at me because this all used to be scabs. There's some scars there now, but they used to be scabs and blisters and they'll come down my neck.
Oh.
And she'd look at me. She's like, "What are you doing? You haven't taken drugs for so long. Like you haven't had any kind of intervention medically for like years, like 5 years. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Jesus." And she's
No,
like,
I love
exactly what I did. I had the gown on. I was like, "Jesus." And she goes, "You're joking, but there's something in it." I was like, "I'm not. You think I'm joking, but I'm not." And then she started witnessing to other visiting consultants from the US. She's like, "I
Mhm.
don't know how she's done it, but through her faith, she has become better." I've read
Well,
that in the Bible
talk
somewhere.
to me about that. So, and I love the whole conversation because my body responds when you tell this, right? So I
Mm,
know that's my confirmation, right? That's God telling me, "Oh, it was all me. It was all me." But talk to me about what did you do? Like, what conversations did you have? What? I mean, obviously you cried out and lost all of those emotions. Remember, you purged all of those emotions in that day you wept. So you gave
mm,
space that day for him to
mm,
come in. So
mm.
so once you purged all of those emotions and you started to understand how he was working through you, what did you do to really forge the relationship on your end?
With God.
Yeah, and Jesus, both.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept running to him. Like anytime that there was an issue, I would go to him. And going to him would look like attending church, going to
Mm-hmm.
prayer meetings, opening up my Bible, literally soaking up the scripture. So I would have like, say, 3 scriptures that anytime something hurt, I would just speak life, speak the scripture. That would be my
Mm-hmm.
medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll be like, "You've healed me, by the stripes of Jesus, I'm healed. You have come with healing in your wings, and that includes me." Um, I would speak life, and then I would go to conventions and things like that where you're saturated with the
Mm-hmm.
testimonies around you, with the word of God, with the continual praying and really stretching my capacity to receive more of him. And as I
Mm-hmm.
received more of him, my soul started becoming more aligned with him. So I would then learn of how much he loves me
Yeah.
and that this was never God's idea for me. Yet he's my healer, he's my savior,
Mm-hmm.
he's my peace, he's my lover. Um, I remember I was dating someone, and about 4 years after I'd given my life to Christ, that relationship came to an end. I told the Lord, I don't want this if this isn't you. He was a
Mm.
great guy, but he didn't know Jesus.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah.
great guy. He treated me well with respect, but he didn't know Jesus. And I remember God saying to me very clearly, I just decided to go on a break because I couldn't split up with him. I loved him. I
Yeah.
genuinely did.
Yeah.
Um, God said to me, is he drawing you closer to me or further away?
Mm, mm,
He wasn't interfering with me attending church, but he definitely wasn't supporting it in the sense of, hey, let's do this together.
yeah.
So I remember saying, Lord, if this isn't of you, you need to shut this down because I can't. And then I decided to honor God with my whole body. And there were certain things I weren't going to do in that relationship anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And in making that decision, communicating that boundary, I genuinely thought we were going to be married. He had asked my father for my hand in marriage.
Okay.
So we were like promised official courtship.
Mm-hmm.
All it was just the wedding now kind of thing. So I remember saying that to God, like, if this isn't you, shut it down. 2 weeks after I'd communicated that there were certain things in the relationship I wasn't continuing with,
Right.
he said we met up and he broke up with me. His words were, I can't love you the way you deserve to be loved. He was right.
He was right. He was
He
right.
didn't know Jesus. He didn't have capacity to love me.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't know how to love
And
you how God loves you.
he didn't have God within him.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking back, he did me a favor,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was sad. I remember him saying, can I have a hug? And I'm like, no. And then he started crying and I'm like, fine, I'll hug you. But he's just split up with me.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
And then my cousins were like, you don't look like you've come out of a 4-year relationship. Like they all loved him. They all,
Yeah.
everyone, all of our
Yeah.
friends, family genuinely thought we were going to get married.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is, I didn't look like I'd come out of a 4-year relationship because my love relationship with Jesus just began.
Hmm.
And I was smitten with Jesus. I'm like, it
Yeah.
has to be done Jesus's way now. Like
Yeah.
my body is his. I've tried doing things my way. I felt more hollow in the relationship.
Right. Right. You felt alone there. Yeah.
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 So I'm just like, God, it has to be your way. So and then that's where he started speaking to me more. I started fasting more. I started going to the scriptures more. I started traveling more on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And after like major operations, doctors were like, you're mental. You've just had a skin graft operation. How could you go traveling and doing these
Don't go
crazy
traveling
bike
and get
rides?
infected. What are you doing?
But it was like, hold up, you're going to cycle across Costa Rica? You're mental. That's like, you're trying to kill yourself. I'm like, I'm not. I just knew I needed to do something that was crazy, bold, and put my trust in God. And
Yeah.
I love exploring and meeting people. So it was great. And then as I was searching, I'm like, God, I want to be a wife. I didn't grow up dreaming of a wedding. I never grew up dreaming of
Mm-hmm.
being a wife. I just knew it would happen. So I was like, God, I want to be a wife. So I'm studying the scriptures. And then I come across Proverbs 18:22.
Mm-hmm.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. So he doesn't find you as a girlfriend. He doesn't find you as a date. He doesn't find you as a mate. He finds you as a wife before he puts a ring on it and makes you his wife.
Yeah.
So my next thing was, God, how do you make me a wife? And that's where wife in the waiting came.
I love it.
Because God makes you a wife.
Yeah.
Because your husband needs to see you, locate you as a wife. And then my question was, God, like, what does that look like? He's like, well, the character of a wife, the posture of a wife, the grace of a wife. And I'm like, use me. Just do it. And then he was like, okay, now start sharing online. I'm like, God, I don't want a singles ministry. Like the way my faith is set up, I'm going to be married in a year. There's going to be no need for this ministry. My faith is still set up. Like, just like, you don't need time. I know who you are. I know how amazing you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the point? Me starting and then I get married. This was over 10 years ago and I'm still not married. But
You are just not to someone in human form.
I'm a wife.
Mm-hmm.
God's made me a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Just husband hasn't located me as wife yet, is the
Yes.
current stage we're
Yes.
at.
Yes.
But it was a huge surrender. It was like, Lord, fine. Okay. I'll give you this season. However short, long it is, it's yours. make me a
Mhm.
wife.
Mhm.
But I'm just gonna do all things your way.
What started changing? What started changing inside of you when you asked that?
I started gleaning. So I would sit around women who were wives, Christian wives, and
Mhm.
I would glean and be like, what's really important in a marriage? Oh, so it's not really his height or his eye color or,
Mm.
those things or, his job even. What's
Right.
really important? Can he cover you spiritually? Can he, does he want to look after you, protect you, pursue you? And then I would, Jesus would pursue me. Like God would
Mhm.
just show up for me.
Mhm.
And he started restoring my relationship with my family,
Mm.
certain family members. He started showing me how I needed to get rid of some pride that was in my heart. He started showing me how to forgive, how to have grace for people, how to change your language so that it be that of a wife, because a wife is an encourager,
Mhm.
it's a multiplier.
Mhm.
One of my favorite mentors, Dr. Miles Monroe, he says, you've got to be careful what you give a woman.
Oh, I love that guy. I love that guy.
Give her a sperm, she'll give you a baby. You give her food, she'll give
Uh-huh.
you a plate. You give her a house, she'll make it a home. You give her trash, she'll give you a junkyard.
Yep, yep.
We're
You
multipliers.
give her frustration, guess what you're gonna get back?
However, a godly wife knows that she doesn't give tit for tat.
Yeah.
She knows how to compose herself. She knows that the war isn't in with that person. It's in the what's trying to come between you and the other person in the relationship.
Yeah.
She has eyes to see what's really going on. It's not really about the dishes in the sink. It's not really about the socks on the floor. It's about the enemy trying to feed in lies. He doesn't care for you. She doesn't care for you. She's only in this for your money or, the lies. And
Yeah.
he just showed me how to really get rid of those. And it's literally a walking with a formation process. We see in Esther a whole year.
Mm.
She was literally beautifying herself. We often think of the outer beauty, but the inner beauty is what radiates the outer beauty.
Yeah.
It's what, learning to love yourself,
That's a big one.
learning to have compassion for you, grace for yourself. We think it's, oh, do your hair and can you extend compassion to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
We often think of other people and how gracious and forgiving we need to be. Have you forgiven yourself for all those things you've done that you, in your right mind now, know not to do?
Right. Right.
But it's a deeper inner spiritual healing that takes place. And then with repentance, you have to then walk it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you started doing this part of your work,
Mm.
what were you doing at this period of your life? So how old were you when you started to do this part of you said 10 years ago. Were you also working as well, or did you feel this had become your full-time calling? Where were you in life with it?
So I was working. I had a couple of businesses. I was a private tutor. It was never about the subject. It was always about empowering the young people
I love that.
to help them have confidence. Because a confident child will try whatever question you put before them. And you would see
Mm,
them like spark up. So I could have easily qualified as a teacher in a school, but I didn't want that. I love the one-on-one. And God was there in our conversations. He would send me to houses and I'll be like, Lord, why have you sent me to this house? And he'll reveal to me the child self-harming, the father needs prayer. The mother needs just that gracious word that you're going to encourage her that being a mother is enough.
mm-hmm.
Um, but it was all assignment to me. And then as well as that, I was practicing as a lawyer. I was representing clients in whose liberty had been taken away at psychiatric wards and
Oh wow.
institutions.
Oh wow.
The church doesn't get an invite to go to psychiatric wards.
No. No.
But I was the church entering there. And I remember
Mm.
I used to share the love of Jesus with them. And a couple of clients actually gave their hearts to Jesus. I wasn't able to say that. But, I would pray for the clients that were open to allowing and permitting me to pray.
Yeah.
But everything I did was assignment to the Lord.
Mm-hmm. That's
And I
beautiful.
used to love the work I did. Like people were like, oh, I'm going to work. I'm like, I'm going to work. I'm so excited.
That's not,
Because,
it's not work when you love it.
right. And the money kept coming. I was in high demand. I never once advertised the private tuition work that I did
Yeah.
because parents talk when they know they've got a treasure. And
Yeah.
then clients were like, oh, can I have that lady back again? She just was so peaceful. And I'm like, that was
Mm.
Jesus. I didn't feel peaceful in that moment. You were having a psychotic episode. So, but I just knew it was him. He was guiding my every step.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
are you focused full time now on helping women to become the wife? Yeah.
I am at the moment, yeah, and
Yeah.
with the psychotherapy too. So I went from law to education.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lord showed me, like, my heart was for human rights, like the right to life, the right to a fair trial, the right to freedom, family, faith, religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I even went to the courts in Strasbourg, the human rights
Oh,
courts.
wow. Yeah.
So I was just like I did a human rights master's. So it was all about human rights for me. And the Lord shared with me once, he was like, you're so focused on human rights. Why don't you teach them their kingdom rights? And I'm like,
Mm.
because if they know their kingdom rights in me, they will have no need for the law. And I'm
True.
like, okay, Lord. And then I found out in my local London borough, because London's made up of 33 different boroughs. Mine's one of the larger ones on the outskirts of London. I found out that we had one of the worst youth serious crimes rates.
Oh, wow.
And we are a green, like, if I was to tell any Londoner, they'll be like, your borough, really? Like, we would never think of that. It was
Mm-hmm.
never known as a violent borough. So I'm just like, all right, well, how are we being part of that solution, Lord? Like me and you,
Mm-hmm.
like what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone at church came because I was supporting the youth at church at this time. And they're like, oh, there's a big youth conference for church for the youth issues and stuff. And they're inviting us from the church. So I went, I heard, and I asked, what do you need? And they said, we need mentors. I said, sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 mornings a week, alongside the tutoring I was doing, alongside the legal work I was doing, I volunteered. And a couple of months went by and they're like, you're really good at this. Like the kids are really resonating with you. It's because I listened. They
Yeah.
felt heard. They felt loved. And again, this was an assignment from the Lord for me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh, could we have you full time? And I was like, well, if you pay me right, sure. It was definitely a reduction in fees, but it was the Lord's assignment. I knew I needed to be there. And then I became a behavior specialist.
Okay.
So now I'm working with students in about 10 different high schools in the London Borough who are known to gangs, who have quite dysfunctional families, behavioral concerns to schools where they're near it, like getting kicked out of school
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
going to a centre. So our goal was to not get them kicked out of school and just mentor them, do group work with them as needed to support the schools with the behavior issues. So I was doing that for 2 years, very successful. Like
Mm.
they would always be like, oh, there's a girl, she's a bit hard. Can you come? And I was like, sure. And then teachers will be like, how have you got that girl to smile? She's never smiled while being in school before.
Oh.
And I was focused on the girls' groups because I was one of the only female mentors in
Well,
the
and you lived through
organization.
that. You lived through that not being seen. You knew exactly how they felt.
And high school was one of my worst times in my life. Just
Oh.
hated it.
Yeah.
But I was bullied. I was one of the only ethnic minorities in my school, predominantly English white.
Yeah.
Um, so I understand racism. I understand being the one that stood out. But I got my grades. I moved on by, and now Lord apparently assigned me back to a high school. And then I got headhunted by one of the schools I was working with. And they were like, we need you in the school. Like, you've got receipts. We see how you are with the students. They all love you. We have an opening as a head of year. So I was responsible for 200 girls who were 14 to 15 years old in my year group.
Wow.
And I was responsible for assemblies, parental concerns, behavior issues, safeguarding, anything that kept the child outside of school or outside of the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
It was my role to get them back in the classroom by whatever means. I'll counsel them and support them and, monitor them in all the ways that I could to support them. And I was doing that job and I loved it. It was a
Yeah.
Catholic girls' school. In my element. What? I can talk about
That's
faith.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I was teaching them about self-worth. I was teaching them about wisdom, knowing what to do, when to do, and how to do it, and how does that apply to them. I
Mm-hmm.
was sharing about how I was bullied and I hated secondary school and what I wish someone supported me through.
Yeah.
So I was getting quite vulnerable with them and they used to love it. And I remember a student, she come to my door and she was like, Miss, are you a pastor? And I'm like, I'm a pastoral manager. That's the title that the head teacher gave me.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, I was like, why do you say that? She goes, it's the word you use. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I was like, you're a smart girl. Get back to class. Or they'll be like, Miss, you're different. And I'm like, how so? And they're like, you listen. And I'm like, thank you. And I go, and you listen to me, get back to class. But I would give them space,
Mm-hmm.
but then they listened.
You
They felt
allowed them
her.
to be themselves.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. And I know that was an assignment from God because before, they asked me how much they were paying me.
Mm-hmm.
I told them that I'm still studying my psychotherapy course, so I can only do 4 days a week. I can't do 5. And they're like, no problem. We'll get you a member of staff for the other day and you can manage them. And I'm like, okay. And they gave me the title pastoral manager. The Lord had told me a year before I was going to be a pastor. And I was like, God, I don't want to be a pastor. I don't want to be no. I was becoming a pastoral manager. And my father's an actual shepherd.
Love it.
So I understand what it means to be, overseeing, taking care of other people and stuff. So I loved it. I loved it. It was beautiful. Until 6 months in, there was an anonymous complaint. And the complaint was nothing to do with my conduct, nothing to do with what I said, nothing to do with anything at the school. It was my social media content.
Oh.
It was wife in the waiting. And the father's complaint was, how can someone with those views be in the school? And I remember being called up about this. And they're like, oh, your social media has come to our attention. I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Not I mentioned it at the school in any ways, but I was like, yeah, what about it? They're like, oh, the wife in the waiting. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, what's wrong with that? And they're like, well, it appears as though unless you're a wife, you are of no worth.
What?
My exact response.
You should read the book.
Anyway. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, it's 18th century teaching on womanhood. And I'm like, well, on your own premise, you headhunted me. You know I'm not yet married, yet value the institution of marriage.
Yeah.
And you know that I regard myself with a lot of worth.
Yeah.
You're paying me 2.5 times anyone else in this post. You know I carry myself with worth and value.
Yeah.
So her response was, you're right. You're right. She goes, but you're global. My inner voice was like, oh, thank you. That's really kind. I've only got like 30,000 followers, but thanks.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
It meant that I was too big of an issue for her to deal with. So in that moment, I was like, what are you asking me to do? She pulls out Google, types my name. So my name comes up and wife in the waiting is there. And she goes, I'm asking you to remove that. And I said, okay, how long do I have? She goes, 24 hours. I don't know much about like Google algorithms, but I think they take a minute to adjust. And obviously there's certain things you need to do. And then I come home and I'm like, Lord, what do I do? Like, I know you put me in this
Right.
school.
Right.
You literally handed me this job.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was you. It was an assignment. And I've done such good work with these students. So I submitted. One of the other issues was submission. Apparently, like, why are you submitting to your husband? Like, well, Ephesians 5 says, submit one to another, wives
Yeah.
submit
It's
to your
both. It's
husband,
both. Yeah. Yeah.
husband love your wives.
Yeah.
My thing is I think the men have the harder end of the deal because they have to love me and die for me, like Christ died for the church.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just have to submit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they get the harder end of the deal. But the thing is, the world today does not see the beauty in submission. They do not see the beauty in holiness and doing things God's way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened.
And obviously you couldn't do that in 24 hours. So
Well, I made certain changes. I was willing to have wife in the waiting without Gozen next to it.
Yeah.
But obviously it would have taken a bit longer for the algorithm to kick in.
Yeah.
And then the following day came, we had a meeting. She's like, look, it's still there. And I said, well, I've made 3 significant changes which would separate my name from in the waiting. I could do a thorough cleanse, but it's going to take a process. I need to go through every single post. And she said, we no longer need your services here at the school. And it was my birthday. And she says, yeah, like, you don't need to come in tomorrow.
And so what did God move you to next? Because clearly he was done with you being there too. Because if he wasn't done with you being there, that would have never happened. So what then did he move you to next?
So I remember coming out, I packed 4 bags of my things from my office and a painting under my arm, got into my car. I had a little blue love bug Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
And I'm driving home. I phoned my father. My father's a good friend of mine. And I'm like, Dad, they've just fired me. And he's like, that's illegal. They can't do that. And I go, well, they just have. And he's enraged. He's like really angry. And my response was, Dad, good has to come of this. Because God wouldn't have allowed it, just as you said. Unless good, and like Romans 8:28.
God needed you to move on to something else. So what is it? Yeah.
So all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called for his purpose. So what happened? I went into a bit of a place where I really needed to look after me. I did some deep level grief work. Deep level grieving. There were certain things coming up. Someone I'd known from back in the day passed away. There was deep level grief work that was happening during that time. And then I had multiple operations looking after my skin coming back to me. I remember praying and saying, Lord, like, I'm legally qualified. I can technically take them to court. However, I do not have the capacity. And I'm like, Lord, they didn't come against me. They came against your word within me. And I was like, Lord, I didn't want the ministry anyway. What single person desiring marriage wants a singles ministry?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I said to him, I put out my little Gideon fleece. I was like, Lord, if you want to fight this, send me a legal team. And there was a chain of events, and out of nowhere, I got on the phone with a Christian legal center. And I'd spoken to a solicitor, but they just weren't getting it. So I wasn't going to invest money or time into it. And I spoke to these people on the phone from the Christian legal center. And I was like explaining what happened. They're like, what? They can't do that to you. What, firing you because you're a Christian and you have Christian beliefs in a Catholic school? The guy on the phone, he was just like enraged. So he's like, okay, well, we'll talk and we'll get back to you. They came back to me and said that they would take on my case completely free of charge.
Wow.
The best Christian legal team in the country that specialize in employment matters, Christians being persecuted in the workplace. God started showing up big.
Yeah. Well, that's the work he wanted you to do. That's probably the main work as to why he put you there. So
Right.
we are coming up on time, girl, and we got more stuff to talk about for sure.
Yes.
So would you be open to doing another episode?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
So yeah, because I want the listeners to be able to hear the rest of the story, how things have ended up where you are today in all of this.
Yes.
And I want them to recognize, like, sometimes God puts you places that require more of you, and they're not always things we want to do or be a part of. Yeah. So is there anything you want to leave them with today? How can they find you? How can they follow you in the meantime while we're waiting to get the second one recorded and put
I know we haven't got into it, but I do have a book, Wife in the Waiting, 31 Days to Healing the Heart, Holding the Hope. For those people that desire marriage, are like, God, what's happening? I feel a bit forgotten. Is marriage still for me? Is it okay to still want to get married? So this for me is the book that I wish I had 10 years ago, something to guide me through. It's got a gentle word from God. Someone described it as, it's like you're holding my hand, being honest with me with your story, and then you're helping me get real with my story with God.
I love it. I love it.
So
okay, so they need to, so we'll have a link in the show notes for the book.
Yes.
And then where can they find you?
Instagram, Lady Gozen, at Lady Gozen or at Wife in the Waiting. I've got a freebie there in my bio. Come. I'm ready to serve those who need the message or in the season finding it difficult. It's not a how to get a husband in 10 steps. It's how can you allow God to form you to be the best wife that you can be for your husband and know how to choose well.
I love it. I love it. Too bad I didn't have that 20 years ago when I got married the first time.
You have it now.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm excited to get our next episode scheduled, and I'm just excited for everybody to listen to this and then to hear the rest of the story. So thank you all for listening to Evolve Through God, and we will catch you on the next episode.